physically you prepared for the role, and we can see that. How did
Thank you.
both?
Thanks.
Can you tell? My name is Simu Liu, and I play Sean / Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is this complex and emotionally tortured character. Obviously comes from a very, dark past, raised by his father to be an assassin, just no big deal, as we all know, happens with all of us.
My name is Awkwafina, and I play Katie. And Katie is Shang-Chi's lifelong friend that he made when he moved to San Francisco, and she follows him on this very intense journey.
She kind of invites herself
Yes.
along on this very intense journey.
I do.
But also, Sean is way too stubborn to admit it, but he actually really needs her and loves her very much.
Exactly.
I'm Meng'er Zhang, and I play Xialing in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And Xialing is Shang-Chi's sister. She is someone that you don't want to mess with. She is a very tough and strong woman. She knows how to stand her ground and find her voice. I think the whole world is gonna love her.
I think the main thing that we always wanted to keep in mind was that this is a broken family, and even though there are some harsh scenes, some dark scenes, some borderline abusive things happening, it is all rooted in an underlying love. Even though that love can be warped and can be messed up by pain, the family dynamic is always rooted in love.
It's Marvel, so you're dealing with a publication history that you usually are able to pull quite a bit from. In our case, we were given comic books that are pretty outdated and are pretty stereotypical, weren't adapting any recognizable version of Shang-Chi's story into a film. We were creating a new story that, yes, has elements of some of the books, but was really its own new thing, which was exciting, but also scary as hell.
It was tough. I mean, I got in October, which is about 3 months before we started shooting, and just like basically stretched every day for like 3 months.
Yes.
Like had people sitting on me and just like, when you do like a V-sit and then somebody does a V-sit on the other side.
What's a V-sit?
It's like, oh God, this is gonna look so wrong in the camera, but it's like when you sit down and you're like this, and then somebody's doing a V-sit opposite of you, and they're like pushing your legs further apart.
So you guys make like a diamond shape.
Yeah, like make it like a little diamond shape with your legs, and then someone else is like sitting behind me, like trying to push me down.
Literally no one offered me this service. They were just like, their sandwiches are crafty.
I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I would have loved to have sandwiches at Crafty. That would be way more fun.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have any martial arts background before this, so they flew me 4 months early to train. And the training was very intense, fun and intense. You can really hear Simu and I screaming in the stunt stage from a mile away. I mean, they really trained us hard.
It was really all mental for me since there was really no physical aspect that she's bringing to this movie. So it was mostly mental preparation, but it was really fun. I mean, I did do a little bit, yeah.
You did some of this.
Did a little bit of this. This is driving. Did some of this.
We hired Brad Allan and his incredible team of choreographers. Brad was actually trained in Jackie Chan's camp. I could just see that he carried the weight and the pressure of getting it right. He wanted to really pay the proper respect to the genre of martial arts films. If you see the progression of the fights and action sequences in this movie, they are giving nods to so many of the great movies of the past. He handpicked some of the best choreographers from mainland China, Hong Kong, and you can see the kind of style change throughout the movie, but it still is so cohesive, and I just love the work that they did.
Personally, the thing about Shang-Chi that was most exciting was that he is a character who is hiding from who he is and his history, right? His ancestry, I guess, more specifically now. The first 25 years of my life, I spent hiding very much of who I was and trying very hard not to be Asian. I saw this movie as an opportunity to sort of tell that story in a very Marvel way, which is, that would be a little too granular and specific, I think, for a Marvel character, but we've just hidden it inside of the story of a guy who's hiding from a much grander version of, you know, that type of guilt and shame.
When I think of directing this movie, I don't necessarily think of it as this is like an Asian American movie or it really was surprisingly very emotional and special once I realized that I was in the middle of directing a scene with people that look like me for the first time in my career. I've never directed a scene full of people who look like me. Those types of just little things that we had in common, I've never really been able to talk about on a film set before or have anybody to agree with on a film set, and that was very special for me. Just letting them go. And they just start going and try to capture the joy that they naturally bring to a film set.
It's like a real family. I mean, it's so special and we just vibe together. Simu is like a real brother to me. And Awkwafina, I mean, she's the coolest girl I've ever met. And Tony is a legend. Working with him is like a dream come true. His work ethic is so great. I can watch his performance under a microscope. I learn a lot from them. I feel really lucky.
I know that what we've done here is special, and I feel it, and we've all poured our hearts into it, and I hope that it's received in a heartfelt way. And the ultimate goal is not just to have made this movie. The ultimate goal is to kick open a door that just makes more opportunities for more Asian stories, but also any people of color or any underrepresented grouping of people to be presented in a very large-scale way so that the larger Western audience, but even the global audience can see we're all capable of these things. Any kid growing up can watch these movies and say, I can be that now. We belong here. We are here. It's an incredibly emotional thing, and I hope that people can appreciate that part of it, but also that you just enjoy the movie, because I think it's a pretty kick-ass movie. So,
Asian representation is so important. And when they see this film, Asian kids who grew up in America, who grew up in Western countries, and they can have superheroes that they can look up to and say, they look like me.
I think it's incredible that we have not just one, but like so many badass Asian characters, each with their own action figure. There's just so many different characters, and they encompass the breadth of, I think, not just the Asian American experience, but so many Asian characters with each with their own sets of experiences and dimensionality.
And hands.
And so many interchangeable hands, metaphorically.
And I just want to give it up to Character Media. You guys are like the OGs and really, really respect everything you guys are doing.
That's my face.
Yeah,
Where?
that's
Right there on the left.
covers over there. I just
See that?
Yeah.
That's my.
I don't know if you remember that Korean
mine.
journal.
Oh, whoa.
There you go. Oh shoot!
Yeah, that's a relic, man. That's like what my first magazine.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at all the colors. Mine is this like gray tone. I want that. You look like you're doing a power play here.
I'm sitting on a clothing dumpster.
Oh.
Yeah. No, you know, interchangeable hands. You gotta go.
I think it's incredible
Why are
because
you
I think
leaving? This
there's-
was so fun.
There's